Well,
I don't know who all's on here. Let's see if we can
talk to you later.
Okay. Jane and she's from Florida. Okay. Can you see the ones that's actually? Let's see. Did we share screen? Let me look at that. What did you do to share screen? Under more. Okay. I see. And then share screen. And should be this one. Why is it not? I think it's already shared, isn't it? Let me see. Can you ladies see the Stongonchuk Hayade Gaga?
No. Monks.
Okay, so
now we can.
You're ready to go. Oh, okay. All right. I hope you ones from Florida are doing okay.
Yes, ma'am, we are. And it's been a rough go of it. But we've got some flooding in our area that's occurring more and more every day because I live in Osceola County. And so the water runs downhill. And then we have Orange County has also opened up the locks to flood us more. So, but my house is not. But my loved ones that were in the middle of the worst of the storm did survive. So thank you for your prayers. I wasn't sure, but I appreciate your prayers and your kind thoughts.
Well, I was concerned, and it's not like we didn't think about you, because you're the first thing that come to my mind, you people in Florida, when that hurricane was coming. Now, we have a niece up there, her and her husband and baby, but their RV was still standing when they come back. They left the area and went to another area to see, and they weren't too close to the water, so they made it through okay.
Oh, good. Good. But,
oh God, it devastated the rest of Florida, though. I seen that. Oh, goodness.
Yes, ma'am, it did. It was widespread, and the impact, but the heaviest over there. So,
history.
It was in that area. Yes, ma'am, it was. And I do rescue work, and it was pretty overwhelming. And our particular group steps down after a few days, and it's on to the long-term rescue rebuild, which is tough. But
I'm sure I saw the devastation that was on just watching it on the news. It was terrible. All right, so we're gonna continue being in prayer, though, and everybody be in prayer with Florida people. Okay, let's start here. See, this is where it fits what the Floridians are going through. Did you make it through the night okay? This is where this fits. You're asking your concerns. That's for one person. And this would fit when you ask somebody, and the tone, would put that concern in there. Because when you're being just meeting up with somebody, you say, did you make it through the night okay? But in a situation like this, you would say, in a more softer tone. And that means, did you make it through the night okay? Okay. So this is to one person. But now I'm asking all the people in Florida. Hear my tone? Did y'all make it through the night okay? You people, you know, I'm talking about more than one, more than two. I'm talking about a group. And this is where this fits too, because I could be talking to all you people. It's still more now. And that's where that comes in. So see, this is fitting. This is saying, did you make it through the night okay? This is where you know, we don't have good morning. You know, and this good morning wouldn't fit in this situation, would it? You know, if you think about it, you meet up with somebody that's just been devastated by the hurricane, and you would say, good morning. That would not fit, but this would. Did you make it through the night okay? You see what I'm saying here? Does everybody understand how this fits? You know, this is how this would fit, and this fits in any situation, but the tone changes that concern. So this is how you would ask somebody this. It's a very it's concern, but also it's like, you know, there's an appropriate time for certain thing, and you know, in the English language, you know, that would fit anywhere. But in, you know, in some places it wouldn't, you know. But you know, like during a tough time, I don't ever say good morning. I just say because it may not be a good morning for some. Maybe a trying time. You know, how are you? That's the first thing I say, like when somebody loses something, loses somebody, how are you? Or I'll say, did y'all make it okay? You know, was everything okay? Are you making it? You know, but this one would fit even in that. Did y'all make it through the night okay? So this is how things are said in the language. Remember I said, you know, language is more, sometimes more compassionate. You can make it more compassionate. You can make more concern with it just by the tone. You know, so y'all remember that. Okay, here's forms of greeting. We're gonna go back through this because I'm hoping that y'all's using this, and we're gonna do some reading again here in a few minutes. We're gonna do reading. Istungo. Istungo. Everything okay? There's no problems. Imongoshan. Everything the same? Istungon athaga. Remember, athaga is base word is athida. Athida is to go around, or you know, going around in town or whatever. And this is what this word is based off of. Athaga. You're around okay. And the response is ahead dungodos. Yes, we are without problems. Imongos. Everything is the same. Istungesos. Seems to be no problems. Abalwa dungon aboga. See, I asked that question in English to Amy. You know, I hope you made it through this, you know, and I could have said, Abalwa dungon aboga. Is the rest living with no problems, or is the rest living okay? Are they okay? I could have asked that, Abalwa dungon aboga, and I could have been talking about her family. And then I could be talking about her community. The rest living okay? Is the rest okay? See, is the rest okay? So that's how you would use this. And this is a example. And two or more people, abaldagi, and you would say chinakta. How about yours? The ones that
Anita Freeman.
About yours. So
You don't know this.
So see, we've been texting my husband's brother about our niece, you know, about how she made it through, and they said, well, they're not too close to the water, but just to be on the safe side, they went to a motel, and I got non-perishable foods because they just got a newborn baby too, so But the next day they said their RV that they had in the yard is so somebody needs to mute themselves. So it's one of those see how this can be used right here. This is why I put this up there, because you can be used like this, you know. And you know, like this response here, "Istundes os." It seems to be okay. We seem to be okay. Seems to be. See, there's that seems to be okay. Seems to be okay. You know, so this is where this is a good right here. This is something that you can use during times like this. But also you can say, but the tone changes it. Like if you walk up to some stungo, it's stungo. Hear that tone? Saying everything okay. See? And then, you know, but in situations like this, the tone would change. And you know, you can say istungo. Hear my tone? So see, this is a chance right here to do concern, worry, or you know, and the response is same thing. You can use that tone. Yes, seems to be okay. And you know, imongos, like the storm that hit, everything is still the way it is. Imongos, everything is the same. Estungezos, it seems to be okay. We don't know yet, but it seems to be okay. So see, this is where this tone comes in to make this a different concern. Okay, a different concern. All right. Any questions on this about the tones, how this can be used? It's just how the tone, and like I said, the language, it can be made sympathetic, concern, funny, or even lightheartedness. You know, that's how it could be used. It can be used in any way. It can be used in any way with the tone. With the tone. And we have different tones with the language that we can use this with. You know, with the tone makes it more sympathetic, more concerned, happy, you know, just like meeting up with somebody on the street or something, you can make it happy. The tone changes these meanings too. The tone changes the meanings. So that's why I said, you know, let's get the tones down. Let's get the sounds down. And that's one thing that we can do with our language. That's one thing we can do with our language. And, you know, it seems sometimes it's, English seems to be more harsh, or you can't, and maybe you can, I never really even studied that much, thought about it, but maybe you can do that with English. But with the Mvskoke language, it can be done, you know. So that's where tones come in. And tones is very important in this language because it can change that meaning. Okay. All right. Forms of greeting. This is just
I really appreciate that, Mvhayv, too, because I always say I study languages to know the heart of the people. And that is so evidential, the compassionate heart, just through this language. And I really appreciate your expression to me of that, and also just how it is in the language itself. I mean, it's the heart of Mvskoke people is evidential.
And you know that, and I guess other languages has that, you know, especially native languages, you know, I'm sure they have those, you know, the tones that, you know, you can put it in anger, you can put it in any way just by tones, you know, just by tones, but yet asking that concern, So this is one of the examples that I've not, I've lived it, because we were, my mother would sometimes be angry and she'd ask us something in a tone that we weren't we knew we better sit down and listen to this, because she was a little bit upset. I could tell by her tone, and a little bit hurt when I heard it. And that wasn't the tone of the language. She didn't have to express saying, I'm sad, I'm hurt, I'm happy. The tone said it. So it was understood, how that was taken. And we knew, we better back off and keep our mouth shut when she had a certain tone. And that's with any, and my grandkids know that too. So instead of scolding them in English sometimes, like last night, I told them, y'all better clean this mess up. When I got home, I said, y'all better clean this mess up. And they were like, they kind of looked at me, and I was talking in English. And so they kind of just ignored me, kind of just ignored me. And I come back in there the second time, and I said, is this mess cleaned up yet? And they said, no. And then they just went about doing their business. So I walked in there the third time, and I said, I said, you pick up right now, I said. And boy, they got to moving. And when I came back in that fourth time, it was picked up. See, the tone, the tone changed that meaning for them, which I could have said, y'all better pick up right now. But that was a little bit, and they just kind of, and I tried to make it in a tone that I meant it, but it wasn't, it wasn't strong enough, I guess. And then when I spoke in the Mvskoke language, when I came back in that fourth time, it was picked up, and these kids, there's three of them. So, and each one never does anything. I'll tell you that. Not one of them ever does. I said, who scattered all this stuff here? And they said, I didn't. And I said, well, y'all didn't do it, but y'all gonna pick it up, Well, Bubba did it. Well, Sissy did it. Well, Kaylee did it, and it's all blamed on each other. I said, I don't care who did it. Y'all gonna pick it up. Well, that didn't work last night until I got in there and I spoke in the language, and they did. They had it picked up. So see how these tones, these tones help me a lot as far as, and I could have done it in a soft voice, but I had already said it twice or three times in English, and they just ignored me. Well, I took it to the Mvskoke language, and did they move? Yeah, they did, and so see, these tones help. And it can be used and changes the meaning. So when I start speaking in that Mvskoke, boy, they listen up, and they did it. They picked it up. When I came back in, it was picked up. Okay, now I want everybody, does everybody understand sounds? Does everybody understand why we're doing these sounds, and why, can everybody use them the way they need to be used? Like this bottle, falasco, and it's fi-a, and that's li-a. That's where that las-ko. Remember the O, it's got that real short, blunt sound. Oh, falasco. Does everybody understand these sounds? How to use them? Because this is what's going to help you as far as pronouncing, spelling, and reading. That's what's going to help you. Okay? And tones. And the tone will naturally come with it. as you're reading these off, like who, ECDA, me off D, is day, mut, is day, mut. Hear that D? I know a lot of them was having a problem with that I. And you know, when it's hard, when you're looking at it right off the bat, you're gonna see that English sound in that. But in the Muskogee sound, it's an A. So you say day, it's day, mut, because this T's got a D sound. It's ECDA, me at D. It's demat. Okay. A child is stoogie, ECDUGE, is stoogie. See that is stoogie. That's why this sounds is what we've been going over and over and over. And remember, look at how many words, 2 and 3 syllable words it made. Look at all these words, and there's more. This is just a few of them, but it's using sounds. It's using the single sounds, it's using the 2 sounds, and it's using the 3 syllable sounds. Look how many words it made, and there's a lot more. There's a lot more. It's just breaking them down, using these sounds in order to enunciate. So that's why, you know, when we come in, forget English, because you will look at this pigeon as PBCE. I don't know, can somebody tell me what that is in English? So when you look at this budgie, B-R-G-E, budgie, see, budgie, it's a pigeon. Budgie is a pigeon. So we would forget pigeon and just say budgie. Budgie is a pigeon. And you know, when I think about when I was in my when I was growing up around my family, I hardly ever heard English. Hardly. So everything was done in the Muskogee language, and now probably every one of these words were used at one time in my family. But I knew what they were in English. So see, all these words are probably used at one time or another. Like Mojussi. New, Mojussi. Mojussi. Hear that? U, mi, U-G-A-C-E. Mojussi. Mojussi is new. Somebody's car alarm going off. Hang on, excuse me a minute. Let me check my truck. Hang on a minute. I got to check my truck. Somebody's alarm's going off. Could be mine. It ain't mine. Thank God. So see how this, look there, Hashosha. That's one of the things that I heard a lot. Hashosha, east. Hashosha. H-A-C-O-C-C-A. Hashosha, east. And when we were traveling, they didn't say we're heading east. They would just say Hashosha Pacha. Pacha means that way. Somebody's truck's going off. It's that white way. So So we didn't say, so like I said, instead of saying we're traveling east, they would say we were traveling using the Mvskoke word. And then far away, Hobeyi. Hobeyi. So when we said we're traveling far away, we would say Hobeyi Nabiduis, we're going far away. Okay. So we didn't hear far away a lot. We heard Hobeyi. So look how many words this is in there. Look at all these words. Remember I said there's more, every Creek word is in these sounds. So this is just quarter of what is in the Mvskoke words. Learning these sounds, you'll learn every word. You'll learn how to pronounce it. Every word. You'll learn how to pronounce it and you'll learn how to read it. So that's why these sounds are really important. Okay. See, that says the tone sure came through in my family. Yes, as told, my mom was good at it. Mine was too. Budgie is a parakeet in English. Yeah, they called it budgie like yellow pigeon in a dictionary. Because see, we didn't have parakeets in our area. We just only had pigeons, so that's what we called it, budgie. But then parakeet, it kind of looked like a pigeon to a point to them, I guess, and so they started calling it budgie too. So, but they say budgie like a yellow pigeon is what they called it. Did they find who that truck was? Yeah, went off. So this is where this came in, Carolina parakeet, maybe they're extinct. Yeah. Huh. Budgie is a parakeet.
I better step in there. The Carolina parakeet was indigenous to the southeast at the time the British landed. And that word didn't jump in there somehow because budgie is English for parakeet. Or
really?
they picked up budgie from the Native Americans and then made that a parakeet. When the parakeets are brought from Indonesia, I'm sorry, I'm off track. But I'm wondering if Pucci, did I say that right for pigeon?
Budgie
is budgie. Okay. So that may have actually been borrowed from our language by the English, I'm wondering. That's interesting.
It could be, it could have, yeah. I mean, and that's why I said, there's a certain mystery to this language.
Right.
There's a certain mystery and I don't know if we'll ever get to these mysteries. But to me, it's like you just said, okay, see, I'll be looking that up here pretty soon. I'll be thinking about it. So tonight, when I go to bed, I'll be thinking about it. And when I wake up, I'll still be thinking about it because I'm going to find something, what you just told me, because this is where my passion comes in. Like trying to find out things, and this language is never, there's always questions. There might be a few answers, but there's questions, like you just said, could be. I mean, there's a mystery to this language, but yet it's spoken. And I'm sure that every language, there's a mystery to it, like theirs. They're probably wondering the same thing. Why do we call it budgie?
Yeah. So
if they even think about that, so that's a good thought right there. You're getting that obsession, you're getting that passion.
I've had it for a while. I'm going to mute. Okay.
So, that's so like the moon. Hathis, see, hear that ha? These, C-E-C. See, see, it's already, these sounds are he, ah, C-E-C-C-E. And remember, when you got two consonants together like this, you got to pronounce both of them. So that's why C. And that C is not real prominent in this first C because it's in your mouth. It's your tongue is kind of pulled back. C. Okay. And same way with hasos. Sa. There it goes again. There's sos. Is that first C is not real prominent, but you can feel it. Hasosa. Okay. Now, we're going to go through correct English, how it's said in English, but look how it's in Mvskoke. If we literally translate it the way it is written in English, and you're going to see how the correct way, and we went through this before, because you're learning these words now. We're going to start making sentences, guys. We're going to start making sentences. But how this is written, okay? It says the sun is really bright. And you're saying that. That's a statement in English. The sun is really bright. You're telling somebody, boy, that sun is really bright. Sun is really bright. Okay. If you literally translated this into Mvskoke, the way it's written in English, you would say Hasidos or Thib Hayayagi. This is saying sun is really bright. It makes sense in this because it's literal, but it wouldn't be right in the context of Mvskoke. You would have to say Hashi Hayayagoshidos. Does everybody understand that? See how that's written? And this is going to take some studying here. Just kind of, if you just kind of look over the sentence contents there, you'll see what I'm talking about. How that's written and how it would be said in the Mvskoke language. You can't say Hashidosh or Si Hayayagi. That doesn't make sense in the Mvskoke. But if you say Hashi Hayayagushidosh, that's correct. Is everybody with me now on this? Is everybody getting what I'm trying to do here? See, this is, the sun is really bright is a statement. And this is a statement in Mvskoke too. But if you took this English sentence and literally, when I say literal, wrote it in Mvskoke just the way it's written in Creek, it would not make sense. It would not make sense. But if you put it, you would put this noun adjective, okay? Noun adjective. Does that make sense? If you have any questions, we need to learn this, okay? Because you make statements a lot. I do. I make a lot of statements, you know, just saying something. Like, this bread is good. This bread is good, you know. So you make statements. If you think about it, you just, you know, a lot of times we speak, but we never know what we're doing until we really actually think about it. And you can just imagine how many statements we make. Because like if I come in, one day I came in here and I said, man, it's hot out there. That was a statement. I just told it. I didn't require an answer. I didn't require anything. I just made a statement. I walked in and said, man, it's hot out there. That was a statement. You know, or I'll say, I'm cold. See, that's a statement. I'm freezing. And you know, that, see, these are statements, but you don't really pay attention to that. So right here, the sun is really bright. The correct way you would say it would be Hashi Hayayagushidos, be noun adjective. Okay. The moon is full. And I used to hear that. Hathisi Ispachkidos. But if we literally translated this into Greek, the way it's written in English, you would say Hathisi dos fachki. That's incorrect. But if you say, there we go again, adjective, there's noun, adjective, noun and adjective. Hathisi is fachki dos. You're saying the moon is full. Okay. You know when the moon is like in a bowl? Like in a bowl, my grandma used to say it's gathering water. The moon, you know, it'd be like it's laying like a bowl, you know, and she used to say it's gathering water. She says it's going to rain soon. And you know, I haven't even looked at the rain. I mean, the moon lately, I don't even know because we're in a drought right now in Oklahoma. We got a bad drought. I mean, we're dusty. We haven't had to cut grass because there's nothing to make anything, you know. Our yard looks like a desert, and we've tried watering it, and it's and grasshoppers, duffel. Grasshoppers is duffel. They're all over my yard, and I can just walk through there, and they're hopping everywhere. And then I heard, well, they're eating all the grass up, you know. But it is so dry here, and you know, she used to say it's gathering water when it was like this. The moon is like a bowl shape, upside down, like I guess, you know, holding up. The points are up. She used to say it's gathering water for, and she'll say it's going to rain soon. And I hadn't even took time to look at the moon. Yes, see, yes, that's right. The moon could hold water. There's some knowledge going on here now. And see, the elders word, you know, I took all this from my grandmother and my mother. There you go. When I said, you know, your elders are walking history and we should take care of them. They're all this is coming back from elders. So, you know, be kind to your elders, you know, you learn a lot. Okay, right here, there is a lot of stars. That's a statement. But if you translate the way it's written there, you would say dos solgi golaswa solgi. That's not right. But if you say golaswa solgi dos, see, there you go. There's that noun, adjective, but you're making a statement. You're saying star, a lot is. But if you literally translated this, there's a lot of stars, just the way it's written in English in Mvskoke, it would not be right because you're saying dos, solgi, golaswa, solgi. So you're saying is, a lot, star, a lot. See? So always remember that most of the time it's noun, adjective, okay? Noun, adjective. You're describing, okay? The tree is dead or withered. That's correct English. You're making a statement because I can say that tree is dead. You know, you would say idodostali. You would say tree is dead, but that's not the way we would speak. It kind of makes it sound with sense in this part here in English, but the correct way in Mvskoke would be idodalidos. There you go again. Noun, adjective. Okay. Any questions so far? Any questions? You let me know now. Is this making sense to you? And you may have to study this a little bit in order, and you will get it. You will get it, that how it's done. And it's going to go on from here, guys. It's going to go on from here. Okay? It's going to go on from here. Because there's correct, and you know, it might make sense in English, and literal translation may make sense in Mvskoke, the way it's written in English, the way it is translated in English. But when you get to Mvskoke, it's not. It's always noun, adjective. Most of the time, most of the time, noun goes first. Okay, noun usually goes first. Okay. The grass is brown. And okay, the grass is brown is correct English. You're making another statement. Bahidos Oblani. So you're saying grass is brown, but that's not right in Mvskoke though. It's saying exactly what this is saying if you read it in English. But if you say this in Mvskoke, you would have to say Bahi Oblani dos. Grass brown is. I got to answer the door. I'll be right back. So see, does everybody understand what we're doing here? Is this making sense? I know we kind of went through it fast last time. So we are going back through this because I want you to understand like 90% of 99% of the time, noun, adjective. Most of the time, it's just changing. And it does make sense in English sometimes, the way it's literal, but a lot of times when we're asked to translate stuff, sometimes we have to really look at it, and turn it around, flip it around, reword things in order to make make sense in it in Mvskoke language. Any questions? Because this is kind of getting into this. So I expect y'all to make statements. You can use this right here, but you can say the grass is green. Bahilanidos, green. You can say bahijadidos, long as you're making the grass is red. I don't care what color you make the grass, long as you know word content, how to put it into all this, okay? Okay, there's a lot of stars. You can add a number to this because we went through numbers, guys. Gulaswa palidos. You could say stars, 10. There is. Bali is 10. So you can say Gulaswa balidos. There's 10 stars, which we were told never to count stars. We were never told, we were told not to count stars. My grandma used to say it's no good to count stars.
Mvhayv.
Go ahead.
My mom used to say the same thing. She said, many stars as you count, that's how many more years you're going to live. Boy, we quit counting.
Exactly. That's what we were told too. We were told that too. She used to tell us, don't ever count stars. You're counting off your days. That's what she used to say. And see what we've learned. And to this day, I still tell my grandkids and kids, don't count the stars. Don't ever count them. And they don't ask why. They just take it. And then I'll think, well, it went in one ear and out the other. And then something will come up and they say, oh, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to count that. And then they'll stop. And this is siblings, like my grandkids gather up and say, you're not supposed to do that. And so what I thought went through one ear and out the other, maybe 2 or 3 picked it up and tells the other. Now, this is how this is carried on, guys. See how these things are carried on. So these kids my grandkids that were told, you're not supposed to do that, they'll remember it and they'll pass it on. And the ones that do know will pass it on. Okay, they'll pass it on. This is how these little legends and little sayings and little beliefs, it won't go away. It won't go away. Okay, and stories, when you tell them a story, I'll tell them a story, it won't go away. And my grandkids, they're my thesis to a point. They're my guinea pigs. I call them my guinea pigs because I'm teaching them, but I'm also learning from them, like And they have the tone and everything down. They got the tone, they got the sound of the language down. That they don't have a problem with. Once in a while, they'll ask, you know, I forgot this. I forgot it. And then when they say forget, okay, remember, forget is ihoshi. Ihoshi. Okay, ihoshi. So I'll say, Jihosha. Okay, remember that paper we went through? Chi, ja is a pronoun saying it belongs to me. You can't, but second person is ji. So this is where this comes in. I said, Jihosha, did you forget? Okay. Remember that. See, going back through these papers, we're going to go through all those things that we studied, and I'm going to explain it as we go through. Okay. So like I asked my grandkid, Jihosha, Jahosha, Jahosha means I forgot. Jihosha means did you forget? Remember, first person, second person, and there's a third person, and it changes. The beginning changes. Am I confusing you? Because we can go back over that ja, chi that we went through, and those were pronouns. Ja is something you can't transfer, belongs to you that you can't transfer. G is second person. You're talking to somebody else. E is third person. You're talking about the third person. And so see, it's getting complicated now, people. It's going to get a little complicated, but we're not going to just let it be complicated. I'm going to break it. I'm going to explain everything, how to use this stuff, okay? Well, right here, the moon is full. You don't even have to say the moon is full. You can say the moon is round. Buluksi is round. Hathisi buluksidos. Right here, put buluksi right here and say the moon is round. Hathisi buluksidos. That's a statement. Buluksi is round. See, you can change that, or you can say Hathisi holatidos. Holati is blue. See how you can change these and just make sentences. Just make anything. It don't, you know, it can be silly. It can be silly. You know, say the Hathisi lustidos is black. The moon is black. This is how you start making this, and you'll start learning how sentence contents is. And it's going to get harder, guys, but right now, this is all we're doing. Is there any questions? Any questions? So, you know, these stories, you know, you're saying, I love your stories, but you know what? I never take credit for those. I never take credit for these stories. My family, my grandmother, my mother, those were told a long time ago. And, you know, I don't know why I listened. You know, I don't know why I listened to all this stuff, because there were a lot of things that, you know, I didn't want to listen. Like I tried to hide when there was work, you know, but now I learned from it. Like making food and stuff, I would run and hide and they'd find me anyway. But then that one thing was I listened. And my husband always says, why'd you I said, you know what? I don't know why I listened. Half the time I didn't, but I said, I did listen to that. You know, I'd sit there and listen. And it was, you know, it's, I don't ever take credit for it, but I appreciate that comment. You like my stories, you know, I appreciate it. I never take credit for it. It was something that was taught to me. Just like it was a privilege, you know, just like this language. If it wasn't for my elders, I wouldn't have learned it. I never take credit for it. It's not mine. It belonged to our people, and it belongs to you. So I'm teaching you. It belongs to you. Own it. You got to own it. You got to claim it. Saying it's mine. It's my language. It belongs to me, and I'm going to learn it, and I'm going to start speaking. You know, so own it. Claim it. Claim it as yours. You know. Any questions on it? Okay. So this this moon, I'm getting back to this moon. My grandma used to say in an eclipse, she used to say a frog swallowed the moon. She used to say, Hathisi Shubakta Lokdos. She's saying the moon was swallowed by a frog. This was during the eclipse. And I don't know how that came about, why it came about. Because, a lot of times we didn't ask questions when they told us that stuff. So she would say, Shobakta Loktos. Or she'll say, Shobakta Logahandos, the frog is going to swallow the moon. She used to tell us that the frog swallowed the moon when there was an eclipse. But, she described one eclipse where, we have partial. I've never seen it get real dark, but she said long time ago it did. She said it was like it was midnight when they had eclipse back then in her day. But she would say the frog swallowed the moon. She'd say, Hatisi Shobakta Lukidos. It's swallowed it. It must be, but she never really told me that story. She would, and you know what? That's a good question. Why didn't I ask her why? Why? And she might have told me why. So she would say, that yes, frog swallowed the moon when the eclipse came up. But she described the eclipse back in her time, which she was born before statehood. She was born way before statehood, and she would say that when they had their eclipse, that it would totally get dark, like it was just like midnight. She'd say it was dark, and now when I see the last eclipse I saw, it looked like it just got cloudy, kind of a cloudy, and it was an eclipse, but she said back then it was like it was midnight. And I thought how things change, in this world, everything's changed. Okay. So you can put any words to this, guys. And I'd like to hear them. Yeah, I may not, what I think we're going to do, you're going to tell me your name and read it to me this next class. And make sure that, you have this down, because we're not going to move on until we get this down. And I want you to know that noun, and if we have to, we'll go right back through it again, like nouns, adjective, verbs and stuff. We'll go back through it. Because we studied all this, and this is where it's coming out now. And you probably wondered, why are we going through this? Why are we going through all this? This is why. This is why it's coming back. So this is what we're going to be doing. I want to make sure that you got this. Any questions? We got 10 minutes. And as we go along, we're going to learn a little more, and you're going to learn a little more stars, like a little more to add, like stars is golashwa. And you can't say golashwas, okay? You can't say golashwas because there's no plural to it. You just have to say golashwa. Right here is plural in English, but here it's not. This, a lot takes care of the plural sound, okay? The plural of it. Golaswas. You can't say golaswas. You can't add an S to this Mvskoke word, okay?
Ma,
You have-
I had a question that's not on the lesson though.
Okay.
I've been curious, growing up, if there were special birthday celebrations or birthday dates that were emphasized, or how birthdays were handled by the elders. Because, like, for instance, in Hispanic culture, which I'm every race and many cultures, but we celebrate quinceañera, which is a special birthday on the 15th birthday. And so I just didn't know if there was like special gifts or special dates, or if it was even celebrated, if there's a special song or a special blessing. I don't have any knowledge of that. So I didn't.
Okay, like our ceremony green corn that we have at the grounds, that is our new year. Actually, July is the real new year for the Mvskoke people, because that's when it's renewal. Because grass comes up, green grass, green tree, everything starts turning green. So that is a new year, because the way I was told by my uncle was, it's renewing itself, and you do too. You renew yourself, kind of like a rededication. You see what I'm saying? So
Yes, ma'am.
everybody, yeah. So we celebrated New Year in July, because that's when everything started. You know, like there's a season they were all dead. You know, they were withered through the winter, but when it came towards springtime, it started turning green and started turning. You know, to where everything was renewing itself. So that's our new year with the Mvskoke people. And it's like a rededication too, like you renew yourself, change yourself, just like in the Christian way, renew yourself, change yourself for that new year to come. And there'll be another one. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Fantastic. Thank you. I didn't know, so I figured I'd ask.
So that's, that's what my uncle used to tell me. And he would say, that's our real new year, and he used to say, and then he would say, you celebrate that new year to, and he said, you remember, because, just like anything else, he said, like at the grounds, they lost somebody. And then they, the new year came up. And they said, we celebrate the ones we lost, because they were there that last green corn, but they weren't there this green corn. So you remember them too, he said. So, we had, I was told a lot of things about it, but there's like this one comment I just got, there is a lot of stories about the green corn, yeah, it sounds like a Jewish ceremony. It could be. And it could be, like I said, every tribe might have their, and as far as like birthdays go, of course we had birthdays, and we celebrated, but whether they were really like my elders, like my mom, she didn't really know what her real day of birth was, or even the month. And much less the year, maybe, because, her mother was illiterate, which was my grandmother. Didn't know how to speak English, but she said she was told that she was born during egg hunting month, which would have been April. And so she took April as her birthday. They put her down as April. And I don't know if she did that or her mother did that. I imagine she did, because, her mother told her it was during Easter time, but she called it egg hunting month. And within that date, so she said, so she took April 23rd, close to Easter, or maybe sometimes it landed on Easter. So she really didn't know. My mother knew when I was born, because she knew English. But as for my grandmother, I don't know if her kids knew the real year or the real month or the real day. And, not to know, but then for the Mvskoke people, July is the, New Year.
Mvhayv,
Uh-huh.
my mom didn't talk about her relatives to me. She just tell me, I would say, what was your great grandma's name? What was her husband's name? She'd say, quit asking. They're dead. Just leave them alone. That's what she would say. She wouldn't tell me.
Well, some beliefs is that if you talk about them, they'll come visit you.
That's what she told me. Yes. That's what she
Yeah,
told me. I said, well, they're your relatives. Don't be scared, if they visit you.
yeah. Well, they used to tell if you talk about those people that's already gone, they said they'll
Mhm.
come visit you. And
Yeah,
my mom used to tell me because of that reason, she told us not to sweep the house at night.
that's right. My mom said the same thing. Don't sweep at
Yeah,
night. Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
don't sweep at night. And she kept a firm belief on that, don't sweep
Yes,
at
yes, that's right.
and like you said, that she used to say they'll come visit you. And
Yes.
there were a lot of little things that we were told like that.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So maybe that was a reason why, you know, don't disturb them, don't disturb them, you know. And what about a ceremony for a young girl becoming a woman and getting married? We don't celebrate that, but I've heard other tribes do for a girl that's coming into womanhood. They say that they do celebrate that. They make a big thing out of it. But for us, we didn't, but we knew, and in the European culture, it was kind of like taboo to talk about that.
Yes.
But for Muskogee family, it was part of life. The men knew, and they would say, like even during green corn, when they had to pick out the dancers for the women, they'd ask them, "Are you going to be able?" Because in our ceremonies, a woman's is not to participate if she's on her menstrual. So they weren't allowed to participate in that area. They couldn't get in there. They couldn't go in or participate in dances or anything. So they would ask their women, "Are you going to be able to make when we set this date? Are you going to be able to make this? Will you be pure during that time?" And they didn't have any. Um, but now in school, they told us, but it wasn't that way, in our culture, you know. So now, see, this is where I read. This is a comment. It says, "I read the dead were sometimes buried under the house floor." Yes, they were. They were, and this is where the houses came from. That they put on the creek graves, the houses. That's where that came from. They were, and it says, "Don't leave food at night either." Yep, that was one of them. And we weren't to leave it out at night. We had to put it up, but before we ate it, we had to heat it. It was not to be left eat it cold, like overnight and left. We couldn't eat it because she said the spirits had already ate off of it, and you would have to reheat it in order to eat it again. So we were told that exact same thing. Don't leave food at night because they'll come and eat it. They said they'll come back and eat it, and you can hear them rattling dishes and stuff, and footprints and stuff like that. Because in the European world, their dead is dead. For our people, it's just resting. Just resting, just waiting for that time. And there, in fact, last night we was talking about scary stories, and my daughter, uh, they're gonna have a little Halloween thing, and she said, "Mom, they want you to come down and tell scary stories." And I said, "Well, who's gonna listen? I mean, will y'all leave me there and I'll be talking to air?" you know, but these little things, I remember those. Don't leave food out at night. Don't eat it after it's overnight. Make sure you heat it before you eat it, because spirits have already ate out of it, you know. Um, and they used to say chicken. My mom used to say chicken is a spirit's food. It's ghosts. That's what they eat. Ghosts or spirits. That's what they eat. That's what she used to say. Say chicken is one that you really have to heat up, before you eat it. And little things like that, Um, so okay, hasiskika, sun measure, hamgat uthibiga, Foxy in Hayat Hijagatis. I will see you the morning after tomorrow. or Bakshi Ashe, Chihidagatis. And we're gonna go back through this. I got another sheet that we're gonna do. So but I'd like for y'all to read this and add your own words if you want to. Add your own little things to it. But if you want to just read it like this, we're gonna go through this. I want to Chihidagatis Chi. Mado, everybody. Mado,
Mado, Mvhayv.
Mado, Mado.
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 All right. Peace.